Okay, and we're live. Uh, Thank you everybody for tuning in to another website redesign initiative meeting. Uh, Francisco's here. Awesome. Oop. No, I don't want to remove him. There we go. Sorry, Francisco, I almost just banned you from the Zoom chat. That would have been unfortunate.
Oh no.
Yeah, we don't want that. Long time no see.
Yeah? How are you all
yeah,
doing?
doing well. And looks like Tyranny's here too. Mr. Node.js Foundation.
Hello.
Hello. Awesome. The whole gang's back together. Cool. Yeah. For intros for anybody who's watching the recording or the YouTube stream, I'm Adam, newly minted chair of the Community Committee and head of the Website Redesign Initiative here, or co-chair of the Website Redesign Initiative along with Manil. Joe, you want to give a quick introduction? We'll just go down the line real quick.
Sure. Yeah, I'm Joey Ellis. I'm the designer illustrator behind all the Node.js website stuff.
Awesome. Manil?
Hey, I'm Anil, member in CommCom, co-chair with Adam of Website Redesign, mostly missing in action for the past few weeks, but hoping to get back into the flow of things over the next little while. Hello, welcome.
Awesome. Francisco,
we're gonna run kid. Just try to help however I can.
kicking butt the whole time. Tyranny.
I'm Tierney Siren, developer advocate at NodeSource and community committee chair. Or no, not chair. No, that's regurgitation. Member and member of the Website Redesign Initiative, and then a bunch of other initiatives as well.
Awesome. Cool. Let's dive into the agenda. I've added at the end of the agenda a quick PR review of documentation page submissions. I realized that there are a few sitting in there that we should talk about and see if we can't leave good constructive feedback afterwards. So we'll try and breeze through the rest of the agenda. First things first, docs using RunKit. Francisco, how's progress going there?
Great. So I finally actually made the pull request. I believe that the only stuff left is bike shedding stuff. I've hey, if anyone has any opinions about the CSS colors and stuff, I certainly don't. I just want someone with authority to tell me use these colors, basically, especially since so one of the issues that the old system had was that I think it for sure did not syntax color any non-JavaScript languages, but I think it also was not syntax coloring if you use JS instead of JavaScript in the code fence. And since the only syntax coloring was just pretty subtle and like keywords, I think a lot of people just didn't notice for a long time. So this now syntax colors everything. So I'm just asking someone to just point me to the right CSS file. And then other than that, we're probably going to do an update to actually choose the kind of handful of blessed examples that will turn on in this initial run. And hopefully this doesn't affect any tests or anything. I'm going to go through all that stuff today, but I think all the hard part's done. As long as everything passes the linting rules and everything, it should be ready to actually approve.
Awesome, that is very exciting to hear. And I linked the open PR in the notes as well. For folks interested in chat, I'll throw it in here too. Is there a live version of the demo chilling out somewhere that we can go poke at? Is that?
Oh no, sorry. I can do that though. I'll do that after this call and just link people.
Yeah, awesome. I think that would help for a design review or at least screenshots showing what it looks like in the PR would be helpful too, because it's a visual change.
That's a great idea. I will definitely do that.
And just for what it's worth, I don't know if this is the same styling that is on the docs page, but I went to one of the guides pages that I've never been to before. And it seems like there's styling there. I don't know if it's just the same styling or if it's more explicit. It does seem to be a little bit more than just random, but I could be wrong. So, I'm guessing this is using a a library to style it all. So whatever theme that's using, I imagine you can just use the same theme.
Yeah, I'll definitely take a look at that.
Cool.
Do you have the? Sorry, could you maybe post the link in the chat to the page you're referring to, just so I can...
Yeah, sorry. There. Do you see it now?
Yeah, great.
Cool.
I will take a look at that. Thank you.
Awesome. Yep.
Awesome. It looks like it's just using Prism. So
Yep.
you can probably just take a look at the source and see what theme they're loading and use the same.
Oh, okay, great. No, that's
tomorrow.
Perfect.
Yeah, it's at the bottom. Prism tomorrow. So that's all you need to know.
Excellent. No, you just made my life a lot easier. Thank you very much.
Yeah. No worries.
Cool. Tierney, taking notes as we go. Awesome. Cool. Onward and upward, issue number 80 in website redesign. JS Interactive Community Committee Corner topics and ideas for oh, that didn't work. Ideas for there. Yeah, so we're going to be jumping up in front of the entire conference and talking about what's been going on for the website redesign, and we need actual content here. So yeah, Manil, I think you probably have the most context on this. You want to kick off discussion?
Yeah, so for people who may not have seen this before, there will be a space for at Node.js Interactive next month. So for the Community Corner website redesign initiative has about half an hour to either give a talk or do a panel. I think so far we've discussed that we were going to give a talk, but we haven't settled on a topic yet. It's possible we might give a panel if we have a third co-presenter. And I think there was a conversation going around where we were going to ask Jen if she was willing to join us to give the talk. Haven't reached out yet. Not sure exactly what channel to go through, probably Twitter or something. But Jen's typically in this meeting, so I was hoping we could ask in person. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So do we want to deep dive on a topic during this? We have 30 minutes, which is either enough time to do a deep dive in something specific or do a scatter shot of everything we're doing for website redesign. Do you have just general knee-jerk preferences?
I might suggest if we were going to do a deep dive, like it would be good to do it during this meeting because a lot of the people who have context for what we're doing are in this meeting. But if we were to do it, it might be good to do it at the very end because that way we'd have touched on different things and maybe something would come up that we're like, we can talk about this. But that's just a suggestion.
Okay, so do the scatter shot for the community corner, and then if people want to deep dive, we can do it in this regular meeting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Awesome. That sounds like a plan. Cool. Well, we'll just get a good like top level review slide deck going for the community corner then. We'll make that work.
So we're gonna bring it up at the end of the meeting again to scattershot or? Oh,
you were talking about specifically finish up this meeting to keep talking about this.
Yeah, the end of it. If we had time, we'd talk about it, and we could just pull in whatever we spoken about, and if not, we could take it offline if we don't land on anything. Yeah. Okay.
Well, let's keep going down the issues list then, and we'll loop back around to this at the end. Cool. Issue number 76, which is consuming localized docs, the Node.js IATN module. And my GitHub is not loading for me right now. There we go. Did we get an update from Zeke on this, or should I just remove the label for next time?
I don't think there was any updates. I think the last activity on it was Tierney shared the recording of the meeting with Zeke, and we have yet to hear back.
Awesome.
So yeah,
so Zeke's comment was that he'll try to find, great to know that it's welcome tool. I'll try to find some time soon to finish implementing a working version and publish it to NPM. And he asked for the recording, so I posted it.
Yeah, I think as long as it's published to NPM and we can consume it, I think we can work with whatever format they give us. I mean, it's probably a pretty standard format they'll be publishing in. My one concern with how they're doing it is there's just one giant package with all the translated strings, it seems like, which doesn't work well for code splitting necessarily. So like load the site with just the language you need and not downloading all of the content. Or may not work well with code splitting, which I don't know. But we can, once we start figuring out what our infrastructure looks like, I'm sure it will be relatively straightforward to change as we need. So I'm not too worried. Cool. I'm going to remove the label here so we don't keep bringing this up in every meeting. Sweet. We'll follow up on that when we get to technical implementation again. Awesome. Issue number 60, the meaty one. So there's been a little bit of chatter on this, which has been awesome. I've been engaging with Stephanie, who's jumped in on this as well. She is the main content manager for backend development at LinkedIn Learning over at my company. So she has a lot of context in how to structure programs like these and structure content like this. And some exciting news on that front as well. Tierney, I think she might have reached out to you about this too at some point.
She might have.
She might have, yeah. But LinkedIn is interested in helping us record introduction videos for each major section of the Getting Started content website. So once we start getting this structure worked out, we can start thinking about where to best use those resources, where they're thinking like 7 to 10 minute to 2 minute, 3 minute intro videos for each major section, kind of introducing what you'll learn, how you'll learn it, who this is for, and the high level of the content introduced for people who take a more auditory or visual path to consuming information. And we can continue developing stuff from there, but they're hoping to contribute that to the project, which is pretty nifty, if I do say so myself. Yeah, so what that means is we need to really nail down the information structure here, which I think will just take dedicated work on one of our parts to write a proposal. Yeah.
There was also some activity later on. People have suggested more topics, and offline, I've also had conversations about this with people, and I'm starting to think that, so the list we have isn't necessarily, like, it's not interactive in the way that we can prioritize any over another. We have it so that people can grab stuff and start writing, but the people who may want to tackle this, if they have a bunch of choices, they may, like, if they're willing to work on a bunch of different things, they may not know exactly which one to start on based on a need or a priority. And I'm wondering if we could use a tool and to start prioritizing which of these we might want to give weight to or put resources into, and allow other people to push those up, like, so that we know what we should focus on. To that end, there is a tool called User Voice.
Yep, that's exactly what I was thinking of.
Okay, yeah. So you've used it before, Tanner?
Yeah.
It seems like a really straightforward way to do it. You just go in and upvote. I think you can make it so there's no login or sign-in necessary. That's how I've used it before. Other projects have used it, and I've managed to find like a way to push up issues or feature requests that are useful. And if you've used it before, maybe you can add more context to whether this might be useful for us.
I think it might be. It might be a little heavy-handed, and I can also imagine people getting confused, like, is this for Node, the project, or is this for, like, just one specific facet of the website using it? Might get confusing, so we'll need to be sure that we are clear in that messaging. But I think it could be a useful tool for this. And ideally, it would also help us, if 500 people wanted an article on using PM2 on Azure, like that's super niche, and I don't think I'd ever think that we should write that. But if 500 people upvote that, we can bring that to people, who are at whatever platform, or setting up Google Cloud Functions to speak to your Amazon Alexa or whatever, and say, hey, can we write this? Or like, there's a distinct interest in this article, would you please write it? And then that gives a good marketing story for them as well.
Awesome.
Just a comment. We're big users of user voice at RunKit, and like a couple months ago, just moved completely off of it. It may be that the issues we had don't affect this particular use case, but to use any of the cool features, it's fairly expensive. And maybe we don't need that, especially if we're saying we don't even care about people logging in, because that's definitely one of the things. I also just have a personal, man, their little login form will not show the password section until you put your email, which means you can't use it with one password. It's like the most, it always requires you to double log in. Anyways, that's not the reason not to use it. The main thing is just it was a little confusing and pretty expensive, but I'm just, we always paid for it, so I just can't even remember what the feature set was for free. So it might be fine in the free version.
Awesome. I'm looking at I've never heard of it before, so I'm just looking at their product page, just trying to see what it's useful for. It's just for upvoting or downvoting specific
whatever your
items, tasks. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I believe
and providing
you just upvote and you can't downvote, which is nice.
Yeah.
Oh, we should just use Hacker News threads then.
Yeah, perfect. Oh, that's great.
Well, see, it's fun. It's funny you say that. I was thinking, if we don't want to do this, there are plenty of HN clones that we could toss away all the features except for upvoting and us posting to it if we wanted to toss that up somewhere. Yeah. So there are plenty of tools we can just literally throw up. No, I guess not physically throw up, but we can put it up on the internet and get the same kind of input. I think one reason going with a product is that it's it takes away a lot of the stress of that and having to manage that.
Zero maintenance.
Yes.
I think it's worth looking into more, and even if it's not user voice that we actually use, we do need some better method of collecting feedback. Regardless. Minyo, would you be interested in taking a stab at setting up a user voice project for this, seeing if it will work for our use case? And if not, comment on issue number 60 with it if it does end up working, or if you go with something else.
Can do.
I think we should go with something else.
Set up and see if it might work for us. And if I come across any alternatives, I'll tack it on. I think I'll make a separate issue for this because it might need more than one try to find something that works. But yeah, totally down. Totally down.
Yeah. So we had 3 or 4 different tickets talking about getting started content, and I closed a couple before this meeting started to point people towards issue number 60. And it would be nice to consolidate that IA and article interest conversation into one place. So unless it's a really divergent conversation, maybe we should keep it in the same places so we don't have tickets flying around in quick conversations.
Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, because hopefully it ends up one thing works. We say, hey, we're going to try this. We load all the content in there, and we just kind of link it to that one GitHub issue. Would be my hope.
Right.
Let's keep the conversation single threaded for now. Awesome. Action item. Lineal setup demo of feedback system.
And there is
in this issue. I love writing action item in these notes. It feels very actionable. Awesome. And we have 3 open documentation PRs, some of which might spark a fun conversation about what type of docs we're hoping to pull in. But first I wanted to Joey, do you have updates on the design side? And
yeah, so we've got, I don't know if we mentioned this last time, but Adam and I have been working on a mascot, kind of a character that will represent the Node Foundation, Node website, that kind of thing. So we'll kind of reveal what the story and everything is probably within the next few weeks. I've got a really big presentation that I was hoping to give this week, and with the hurricane, we slowed down just a little bit. But I'll be out in San Francisco next week to meet with Adam and kind of go over some of the designs for what this character is going to be. And then the next steps will be to then integrate that into the, I guess if you want to call it, the illustrations for the website moving forward. This mascot's going to be, we've talked a lot about all the badges, all the community badges and symbols that we would like to create that would feature this mascot. Very similar to kind of like GitHub's Octocat, if you want to go down that route. So we'll hopefully be making some headway with Adam next week, with the idea that we will be able to finally be able to share some of this stuff with the group in the next 2 weeks or so ish, if the hurricane didn't wipe my office away. So yeah, that's my update on my end. And I hate to be so cryptic, but again, it's just one of those things where we've got so many little ideas, and I feel really confident in what Adam and I have come up with. It feels dead on, but we kind of want to just keep it simmering just between the two of us for right this second, just so that we are able to present a very clean story, if you will. And again, hopefully with the next 2 weeks or so, we'll finally be able to share that with the leadership group. So yeah, that's where we're at.
Hoping to bring that to the CommCom meeting and give get that initial like broader feedback on the design direction and illustration style direction, and some of the look and feel and less concrete points here.
You're killing me. I love mascots. This is
it's gonna be fun. I really can't wait. I really can't wait for a wider audience to take a look at this. I think it's gonna be like excitement all around. It's gonna be really cool. Yeah, awesome. So let's we'll get that scheduled for let's see, the CommCom meetings technically next week, which is not in the 2 week timeline, so it might be next.
That's fine.
Next CommCom meeting.
We can throw stuff together. I think
you've got 7 days and 1 hour.
7 days and 1 hour. Well, then we have 7 days and 1 hour. What's the date of that meeting?
It's the 9th. It's the 20th for that meeting.
Yep. It's not a hard date. Like, you don't have to.
Yeah. There's another one on the 4th. So
yeah,
but it helps to kind of have a target date to kind of say, yes, we're ready, no, we're not ready, kind of thing. So okay, that's cool.
Awesome.
Go, no go.
Cool. We'll aim for the 20th, and if it's just not ready, we can always push it to the 4th, if need be. But
okay,
that's
sounds good.
For the sake of moving this thing forward. Let's shoot for 20.
Okay.
Sweet. Cool. So let's just go in and quickly review PRs. So PR number 85, Introduction for Installation for Node on Mac. Matteo actually jumped in here and gave some good feedback. Don't use Homebrew to install.
Yep.
But otherwise, like, I think there's a lot more content that needs to go in here. Does anybody, I mean, I could probably find out just with a cursory Google, but I feel like this has to have been written somewhere.
I've written this.
Yeah, Tierney, can you comment on this with a hey, here's a bunch of content we can include on here. Let's try and
yes. I don't know if I can directly give the content at this point, but you can.
We'll just link to the old article.
Concepts. Yeah.
So for context, this PR is a result of an open source meetup that we did here in Vancouver.
Awesome.
So we had a bunch of people come who did not have very much experience with open source, and we were like, hey, here's a good place to go, because we actually had that structure, the call for content. So they went in and a bunch of them contributed different stuff. Some of it may need like back and forth, but hopefully it translates into real content. And there's one this weekend on Saturday. So if this person comes back, I'll be taking them back to this and I'll walk them through any feedback you might want to give them between now and Saturday.
Very cool. That's awesome. How often is the meetup?
Once a month. It's on the third Saturday of every month. We're doing it under Node School, even though it's not really Node School. but we're going to Node issues, so.
Very cool. I might actually want to start commandeering a small chunk of one of the meetups over here as well to kind of have, hackathons for documentation might be a good way to approach this. So I was
gonna say I would love to do the same in New York once I'm there.
Awesome. Yeah, we can get a whole once a month hackathon across the entire Americas and across the world to contribute to documentation.
That'd be so sweet. Like meetups in different places around this. And I don't know how soon you want to do this, but we started last month and we're gonna ride the Hacktoberfest kind of wave. So our next edition this Saturday, we're gonna get people signed up for Hacktoberfest. And we're actually thinking about asking Hacktoberfest for swag. Do you think that would work?
Well, you get it for free if you contribute.
Oh, that's right, in the mail, right? In the envelope? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, well, I guess we'll just tell them that.
Cool. So yeah, I'm gonna make a new ticket or a new issue just to keep talking about the hackathon, documentation hackathon meetup idea. And there's a place for like announcements for new ones. Maybe we can keep a running list of active ones, starting with the Vancouver one you're hosting, Manil.
Cool.
For people who come in and want to see how they can contribute. But yeah, I'll get that ticket going. Make ticket for Meetup Docs Hackathon discussion. Sweet. Yeah, so Tierney, if you could at least link to a couple articles here, so they have some feedback for when they meet up.
Yep, next month. I think I did post it.
Mm-hmm.
Or at least that one. And Manil, for what it's worth, there's like similar-ish articles for all the platforms on our site that I wrote. So, those exist and you can use them as a reference. Again, I don't think I'd be allowed to say you can directly copy them or that I could give you the content, unfortunately, because they're very highly trafficked. But yeah.
Used for heavy inspiration.
Yeah.
That is awesome. Yeah, this one's for Mac OS. We have a bunch of people showing up with at least like Windows or Linux stuff. So yeah, I'm going to go find those.
Cool.
Sweet.
Yeah. Do we want to use that PR? So this PR looks very Mac heavy. Do we want to have, oh, I see. It's different files here. Yeah. Do we want to consolidate installation instructions into one doc, or do we want to keep it very separate? I don't actually know how much content is needed for each platform. So.
So what would be great in writing all of these articles, or for every platform, what would be great is to provide a very basic template. Like you can, for each of the platforms, it is very consistent, the steps that you need to follow from beginning to end. The content in between might change, and like some of the, if you have a code block versus, explaining something might change. But the actual structure of how you can approach it is very consistent. So building that out, and again, I don't know if I can do that, but building that out would be a good approach. I would advise on doing that.
Okay, I will. I'll comment on the issue with that feedback as well.
Cool.
Just to track it. Sweet. Onward to 84. So this one is. add doc for monitoring with Elastic APM. So this one feels very product specific. Manil, did this come from the meetup as well? Or
It is. It came from the meetup. It was one of the mentors who was helping out also decided, well, they know Elastic APM, so just add something about getting started with it. Yeah.
He works at Elastic, so it's like totally. I think this is great. Yeah, I think this is fantastic.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just gonna ask the question for completeness sake. How much like product specific integration docs do we want? And will this go on the website, or is this better suited for like Medium in the community blog or somewhere else? I don't have a strong opinion, but I want to see what the tone of the room is.
I have opinions, but I'll let other people go first.
I wouldn't say I have a strong opinion, but my gut on this tells me that while we're getting documents set up, there is no reason to scatter them too early, especially while we want there to be more activity on this particular thing. If later it would be necessary to split them up for a reason that comes up, that's part of mine.
Cool. That's where I'm at. Tierney?
And my thought is that generally, no matter what kind of Node tooling you're going to be using, or however you're deploying Node, if you're actually trying to deploy it to production or build an app with it that is like viable, you're going to end up using some kind of product somewhere in that chain. And I think it's a little bit not dishonest, but dishonest to exclude that content. Yeah, I don't know. Like it feels like this is you're going to be using open source projects and proprietary products in this anyway, and I feel like this is a good way for us to be able to engage that content more effectively rather than having it scattered, and have us be able to be a source of truth for content that relates to us.
Yeah. Do we want to make an ask to expand the content here a bit more with just what is monitoring? How does it work? Yeah. What do you typically monitor? And then keep it Elastic APM focused for examples. Like, here's how you do it with Elastic APM.
Yes, I think that is a fantastic ask.
Okay, awesome.
I have a follow-up question for if we are going to ask them to expand it with some contextual information, which is how I'm understanding that. Do we want them to include that in the guide, or to what extent do we want them to link out to other documentation around it?
That's an interesting one because there's plenty of different ways to do monitoring. Do we want to have this be a subdoc and then have a overview doc? I'd be happy to help. I can get scope to write. I can help write that. Actually, I might not. I'll be able to help. I'll be able to help with it. I can't guarantee time, but I can put time into it.
Okay, for the high level conceptual doc.
Yep.
Cool. Do you want to get that PR started at least? I think having them split up just now for now is just fine. There'll be a whole bunch of docs churn, and we can figure out structure as we go.
So is the idea that this PR would relate to the introduction to our section around monitoring? So that thing that LinkedIn Learning was going to help record videos for, that would be kind of part of this?
That would be one good way to structure it, yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Tierney, I'll put you down for that action item. Start draft of monitoring conceptual information doc. Link to APM.
What month is September numerically?
7?
No, 9? No, it's 8. 8, I think. 9 because it's October. Or October.
How many devs does it take? Count to 9. Link to this doc. Cool. And then the last one is 80. Pull request 83, which is Looks like just like a test PR for contributing. Manil, I'm assuming this is also coming from the meetup.
One moment, just gonna open it up.
Yeah, using Node with framework, and then it's just empty, like to do fill in here.
Oh yeah, this was another one from that one. I don't know why it's empty because I remember reading content.
Okay.
But probably not in here. I read it. I may have read it on their screen. They may have not made the commit, which is strange. They may show up this weekend. They've come to different Node School meetups, so I might run into them and I'll ask.
Awesome. And this is a very large topic, so maybe encourage them to find a corner of it that they know well, and and kick butt on that very focused article.
Yeah, I think their thing was about React.
Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, it's an intro class. It's
yeah, very cool. So I'll have you. I'll list you down as a follow up with the author. Sweet. That's everything on our agenda. Does anybody have anything else they want to bring up or discuss?
I had something briefly. There was some activity around voice and tone guidelines. It's been a while since there has been any content added to it. So I'm thinking if there is interest, someone commented a day ago, maybe it's time to kind of move that forward. Is this something that we want to prioritize right now? Add more stuff to the voice and tone guidelines?
I think it's, just like all other things in open source, it's a living document. So like if we have contributions we want to make, let's do it.
Okay.
Yeah. Otherwise, let's see I'm forgetting exactly what content we have in here already.
I'm thinking I might ask the person who has commented to maybe add something that they feel strongly about. It seems like they've dropped in references, but they haven't, and they said it might be helpful to people, but they haven't actually explicitly expressed an interest in doing something. But we might ask them because it seems like they're part of Lullabot, and Lullabot has engaged us before, so they may have been brought here for that reason.
Awesome. Yeah, I'll list you down as follow up on that ticket, asking for a contribution from them if they have specifics they want to see added. Drive engagement, get PR from the ticketer. Who is that? There we go. Joe Schneider. Cool. Yeah, if we could just have you engage on that ticket to hopefully get that contribution, that'd be awesome. So yeah, literally everything in this repo I think should be considered a living document. There's no such thing as done. So like if we have stuff to add, let's add it. Cool. Anything else? Any other topics, questions, comments, compliments? Shakespearean insults.
I think I'm good.
Awesome. Well, then I think we'll call that a website redesign meeting.
Awesome.
Cool. Thank you all for tuning in. Look forward to seeing you next time.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Bye. Have a good one.